A year ago today, I was out reporting on several local couples celebrating their weddings together at Hemming Park. The mass wedding was meant to celebrate the legalization of same-sex marriage here in Florida. Now, a year later, they're celebrating their anniversary together, and you're invited. Joining us on the morning show with more details about the celebration is the attorney who helped these marriages happen. Really, you helped them tie the knot, Carrington Mead. Thanks for joining us. It was a big deal. A lot of people. How many people were out there last year? Do you remember?
Estimates were about 1,200 to 1,400 people were out altogether that traveled to the park that day.
And just being out there, it was a joyous occasion. A year later, it's kind of crazy that so much time has gone by, but this is still something that we're still fighting about in our country. Talk about where we're at here in Jacksonville.
Well, the legalization of gay marriage was just the beginning of a long fight. It's going to be a long haul for at least the next 10 or 15 years that we're going to have, probably next 20 or 30 years, actually. But I think the most seminal issues will have to be addressed in the next 10 years, importantly.
As far as the celebration today, how can people get out there and celebrate and remember? Again, I think we're showing some video right here of the celebration. What can they do today?
They can come out. It's from 11 to 2. It's in Hemming Park. We're going to have a DJ so people can dance. We'll have a little champagne toast to the couples, and people can do what people do when there's an anniversary.
Have fun.
Have fun, that's right.
Well, and you know, it's such a big celebration. I think some people thought, why get married in a group? You know, why celebrate in a group? Because everyone out there has something in common. Talk about that.
Well, I think that, yeah, I think that the one thing they have in common most demonstratively is their group oppression. Mm-hmm. And I think that when, you know, somebody waves a wide swath and says, okay, you can't be discriminated against anymore, I think there's this knee-jerk response to want to get together and celebrate and have a big party.
Absolutely. Talk about the progress that Jacksonville has made, and what else do we have left to do?
The progress that Jacksonville has made?
Yeah, as far as us celebrating in Hemming Park, I mean, that's something we might not have seen before, or something that,
well, there wasn't anything
obviously
there wasn't anything to celebrate in the park before. So yeah, I mean, I guess to that extent there's been progress, but I think to a more important extent, as far as the governmental entities go, there's been a lot of more regression than there has been progression. And one of them is our county clerk, who has decided that if he has to marry us, he doesn't want to marry anybody, which is not really the most mature response to progress. And now we still are fighting about an HRO that the rest of the nation and a good portion of the world thinks is a no-brainer. So
still a lot to do. But talk about the celebration, staying positive today, and just the happiness that people are going to feel when they're out there.
Well, this is about people being able to go down to the courthouse and at least be able to buy the license.
Right.
For slightly less than $100 and become entitled to about 1,500 different rights, responsibilities, and obligations they otherwise would not have been entitled to be able to do, no matter how much they had tried to get the proper legal relationship. But this is about being able to take care of each other, really, without having to depend on taxpayers to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of people out there that I met last year were, I mean, together for decades, and were now able to get married. And one of the bigger issues that they said was, you know, I was afraid when I passed away, my stuff wouldn't go to my partner, who I've been with for years.
They're even afraid that their body won't be able to be interned by their partner that they've been with for years. And instead, you know, their partner, and this was very much the case, their partner would suffer through watching people who had nothing to do with them for decades being the only people who had a right to bury them. Yeah. You know, and also when they become older, they run the risk of being separated in their older years if one of them has to be in the hospital or rehabilitation facility or nursing home. Now, because of state and federal laws, the facilities cannot separate them unless there's a good reason to do so. So that's a seminal effort. I mean, we're still able to take care of each other, and we should be able to take care of each other. Nobody else should be made to do it when we're willing to do so, and we certainly shouldn't have laws on the books that prohibit us from doing so.
Well, celebrating a year ago, now today, the anniversary. Everyone, you're invited to Hemming Park. I guarantee it's probably going to be a blast out there. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Guests can enjoy champagne, food truck fare, music, and more. Sounds like fun. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for inviting me.